Hello all you people out there in internet land. My name is Britt Kolick. I use they, she pronouns, and I'm a professional stage manager. And today we're going to talk about resumes. So if you've come here from all facets of the internet and you're not in theater, this video is probably not for you. There's a million videos out there on how to make a good resume for any sort of business. This one is going to be tailored towards theater, specifically stage managers slash actors slash possibly other technical folk like designers, because I don't know about yins, but I did go to a school where I would go and my theater professors would look at my resume, they'd tell me it was good, and then I was required to go see a career counselor, and they had no idea what they were looking at, and they weren't sure if it was right. And it's very disheartening to spend a lot of time and energy on a piece of paperwork that's supposed to show off, like, this is what I've done, and to have somebody just not know if it's good. So I'm hopefully this video is helpful. Despite the posh haircut, glasses, and the collar over top of a sweater, I am no expert. I do not have a degree in resume making. I just spend a lot of time working on my resumes and getting input from other people in the industry, and I see a lot of resumes. I think a lot of people don't realize that a stage manager sees a ton of resumes, and I've seen some really good ones, and I've seen some really not good ones. So take my advice with a grain of salt. Ask around. I always found it helpful when I was making my resume to sort of workshop it. I would send it to different friends. Hey, does this look good? Is this cohesive? A resume is really important, and especially if you're a stage manager, because this is the first piece of paperwork a company is seeing from you. Stage management is a lot of paperwork, so if the first thing that they see from you is not great, chances are they're going to say, well, if this is the resume, imagine what the rehearsal report looks like. But hopefully that you guys take some helpful hints, some tips, some tricks, and maybe feel less alone in the fact that maybe your first resume wasn't the greatest, because at the end of the video, I will show the resume that I had just 3 years ago. It was from the fall of 2020. I'm pretty sure I sent it to grad school. I'm pretty sure I sent it to actual job applications, and it is not a great resume. So at the end of the video, we'll see that. But I'm going to break this video down into a couple parts. First, we're going to talk about what is a resume. We're going to talk about what should be on a resume, how you should format a resume, and then what I'm calling general practices, helpful tips, just good things to have in terms of resumes and updating them especially. So let's get into it. So what is a resume? Webster defines resume as a short list of one's career qualifications. And that's exactly what it is. It is a little bit of a taste of who you are, what you do, what you're about, what you're certified to do, what you have degrees in, all that jazz that you give to an employer who looks at it and can make an informed decision on if they want to hire you based on the qualifications you bring to the table. So now that we know what a resume is, what should be on a resume? Let's take a look at mine. Regardless of if you are an actor, designer, stage manager, director, your resume should have most, if not all, of the following: your name, your phone number, your email, your website, your degrees or certifications, such as if you have a certification in fight choreography or intimacy choreography. I would also put if you've had extensive training in things such as improv, clowning, the checkoff technique, anything that you've had extensive training in but may not have been certified in, but you feel qualified to do and or to teach other actors or castmates to do. Show experience, starting with the most recent, working your way down. Special skills. And I have references. References aren't for everybody's resume. Actors most likely are not getting hired based on their references, but as a stage manager, I don't walk into a room, recite 2 monologues, and then answer some questions. There's a little bit of vetting. There is a looking at portfolios and CVs, which we'll talk about in a later video. And there is also the calling of other people to see, hey, how does this person work? How are they? Are they good under pressure? X, Y, and Z. So I have references. Not everyone needs to have references. Formatting is a gray area. I will not lie, there is no one right way to format your resume. And it's a really great way for us as creative people to be a little bit creative and make our resumes stand out. So I'm going to talk a little bit about my formatting and why I've done mine the way that I have, and just some general good tips for how you should format your resume. So I actually took the general look of this from my buddy Stacy, who is a scenic designer. She was the one who encouraged me to have color to denote my sections of, education, skills, experience. And I really like that because mine is in green and my portfolio is a lot of blues and greens. So they really go together nicely. And she also was the one who showed me that you don't have to just have everything listed right on down. You can have them, blocks next to each other. You can have some skinnier, you can have some that are a little bit bigger. I really like that. It's very eye-catching. It takes up a lot of space. You don't really want you want to have the right balance of blank space on your resume, and it's very hard to strike. You don't want to make the resume look overcrowded, but you don't want to make it look empty. So I think everybody finds their own way of how they want their resume to look. I happen to borrow hers because I really liked it, and I think it's just very clean and it's very sharp. And it's a really good way for me to show off my paperwork making skills, because a lot of what I do as a stage manager is paperwork. So right at the top you have your name, my name. I have my email, my website, and my phone number. Right at the top, ways to contact me, and also I keep my website very up to date. I want people to be able to go look at it. I think everyone should go look at it. Right at the top, I have education and I have stage management experience. I'm a stage manager by trade. I do other things in theater. I am qualified to do other things in theater, but I am making my way as a stage manager. So education and my stage management are right at the top. I just denote that I have a BA, the year that I received my BA, and the university of which gave me the BA. Everyone can take a sip of water for every time I've just said BA. And then stage management, those are all my recent credits. I took this from an actor. I wish I knew which actor I did, but I saw this on their resume. They had like a little asterisk or a little plus sign next to the show that they were currently doing. And then at the bottom of the page, it had that little plus sign and it noted that it was a current production. I love that. I love putting what I'm currently doing on there. I think it's just a great way for me to keep up to date with my resume, and also for people to see that I'm currently working. I don't know why I like that. I really do. Right underneath education, in sort of the skinnier of the two columns, I have skills. And I was talking to my friend about the skills. I was looking at her resume and I said, I always put my special skills first. I put skills that you don't normally expect a stage manager to have, such as carpentry, hand and machine sewing, stage combat, stage makeup. I have gun training on there, both prop and live. And then I have things like Google Drive, Word, PowerPoint, Excel. Because as a stage manager, your stage manager should know how to use Microsoft Word, Google Docs, Excel, Google Sheets, PowerPoint, Adobe. Your stage manager should know how to do all of those things. So I try to separate myself from other stage managers by having more specialized skills. I do think every stage manager should know how to put a 3-inch screw into a 2x4. And I do think every stage manager should know how to hand sew at least a 3-inch hole in someone's pants. Had to do that once. That's a story for another time. Underneath skills, I have the references. We'll stick with the skinny column for a second. Right there, they just say name, position, company, and their email. But that is usually how I denote my references: their name, their position, the company they've worked for, or the company that I worked with them at, and as well as an email. Some people with the references put emails and phone numbers. I think that's a lot. I think an email is pretty good. If you're sending your resume to somebody, make sure if you have references that you hit up your references just to be like, hey, somebody might be emailing you, because I've had emails go to spam. And I had somebody text me like 2 weeks after an email came in, and they go, I will gladly write you a letter of rec anytime. Just please give me a heads up. So that is good advice I pass on to yins. Back in the larger columns, we have my stage management experience. Underneath that, I have the technical director experience. I used to throw in the ATD stuff with my stage management and just put like show experience or theater experience. But now that I have 2 credits, I've made it its own little category. And then right below that, I have shop experience as well. Because I have carpentry as one of my skills, I wanted to note that I do have the training to back it up. And one thing I really want to note about formatting is, if you'll notice that under stage management, I have both stage management credits and assistant stage management credits. I don't have those in separate categories. I don't find a need for them. They are separately billed on my CV, which is a video I'll get to later. But I don't differentiate because in the end of the day, it is all stage management. That being said, for my actor friends out there, you should differentiate between stage and screen, because those are 2 different skills and 2 different worlds. But it's good to have both on your resume. I've met people who will denote theater and then film and TV, and I've met people who will denote straight plays versus musicals versus film and TV, or even dance. Some actors I know are dancers as well, so they'll have a separate category for dance. And the best resumes I've seen from actors have just a few credits in each. And that's not to say that they've only done a few things, it might, but they just want to give you a taste. They're coming into audition, they go, here's some of my most recent work that I've done before, here's what and then here's, me now in front of you. And it should make you want to hear more, to read more, to ask questions. You don't want to give your whole life story in a resume. So the best acting resumes I've seen have just a few credits in each category, and it's to be like, okay, they have experience, let's see what they can do. Acting resumes are very similar to my stage management one. Instead of references, you may have awards. I know several people who have put in awards that they have won either as part of a production. They've put like awards that their productions have made, such as like best ensemble or best short film, or individual awards. I had a buddy who won a best actor award, and that's, I think, was on her resume, or was going to be on her resume, she said. So you might want to exchange references for awards. It's always good to denote, that you've won things. That's a really great thing to be a part of. I also like seeing, because my buddy had several awards they won as a part of a production, and I love to see that, because that means that you're a team player and that you can be a really good addition to any team. And in the end, theaters, we're all just like a team of people trying to make something happen. So that's what I like to see. Everyone has an opinion on this, so I'm going to give my hot take. Some actors put their headshot in the corner of the resume. They provide a full headshot, but they will put a little headshot in the corner of their resume. I have never been told, because I'm not an actor, what is the best practice for it. I know that I see a good mix of both. And personally, as a stage manager who has a hard time remembering names, very good with faces. So I personally love that. I love a resume that if someone's like, hey, can we find this person? And I'm searching through and I see a little photo in the corner and I know that that is exactly the person who we're talking about. I love that. I love that. It helps me do my job. I love a little headshot in the corner of a resume. That is something, if you are an actor, I would talk with other actors, I would talk with other professionals. I don't know if there is a best practice for it, but I love it. If you ever find my name as your stage manager, put a little headshot in the corner of that resume, because it helps me. I'm very bad with names, unfortunately, but faces I'm great with, so I love that. Again, that's also personal preference. If you don't want to do that, if you think it looks bad, don't do it. But I personally love it. That's like one of those weird little things that I just absolutely love. We're going to talk about best practices real quick. So, and again, these are just things that have helped me to really stay on top and on track with my resume. So number one, best practices for a resume. Keep it to one page. The number of people that send me a resume that the file is called portfolio and it's 3 pages long is nauseating and also incorrect. A resume is 1 page. It is a snippet. It is a little slice of who you are and what you're about and why you're qualified. I don't need your whole life story. That's for a CV. That's for a portfolio. Those are for other videos. resume, 1 page, keeping it to 1 page. And with that, you are keeping it to only what you're applying for. What I mean by that is, I got a resume one time that was 4 pages long that included somebody's work at Applebee's and at Chili's. This is for a theater gig. You working at Applebee's and Chili's is not that. I think we were looking for board ops. That has nothing to do with you being a board op. First of all, your resume is 4 pages long and it ends with that. Absolutely not. If you are auditioning, if you are an actor, stick to the acting and stick to the qualifications and the special skills that you think set you apart as an actor. So, check off juggling, clowning, improv. And with that, actors, as I've talked about, you can put, regardless if you're auditioning for film or theater, put both on there. Show that you have theatrical experience, show that you have film experience, show that you have TV experience. Those are really important credits, and they show a versatility of you as an actor. So those are completely fine to have. Myself, I have stage management and I have assistant technical director on my resume. Those are 2 different categories, but they are all encompassing of theater. And I do believe that one informs the other. As a stage manager, I have to talk with TDs. I have to talk with designers. The ATD shows that, okay, you have experience working with a TD closely, with a designer closely. You know the jargon. You're able to communicate. That's what I love. Designers, if you are an assistant designer, if you are taking classes, that's great. That's all good, relevant information to put on your resume. You working at Chili's is not relevant information. So keep it to 1 page and keep it to relevant information. So if you're acting, keep it to all your acting stuff, design, whatever. But do not put that you worked at Chili's on your theater resume, for the love of God, please and thank you. And keep it to 1 page. We're getting hundreds of resumes a day sometimes. We don't have time to read all 4 pages. We want a little slice. And then this brings me to how you should be sending your resume. We're getting away from handing things in person, especially because it's so expensive to print a headshot. It's so expensive to print your resume, even though it's only 1 page, so it should only be 1 piece of paper. But more likely than not, you're going to have to either upload your resume somewhere, or you're going to have to email your resume to somebody. The number of resumes that I have gotten that just are labeled resume is astonishing. You should have it labeled your name resume. Why I say that is because, say it's just labeled resume, it might get lost in the sauce. It might not end up getting renamed. It might just live as a resume, and now you're just a random resume on someone's computer for the next 6 months until someone does a deep clean. So put your name and resume. It takes 2 seconds, and it shows that you have some attention to detail and that you want to stick out. Because you want to have your name, resume, you want to stick out, you want to be easy to be found, you want to be easy to be alphabetized. You don't want me as a stage manager to have to go in and to rename it. That's great. I would also recommend that if you are sending a headshot or a portfolio for my designers, headshot for my actors, label the headshot as your name headshot. Because some of them I just get that are named headshot, and I'm like, you're great, you're just a face though. Put your name headshot. It takes 2 seconds, and it really does make a difference. I have a folder labeled resume, CV, and portfolio. And in the resume portion of that, I have a Word doc. I made my resume on Word. Some people do Google Docs. Use whatever program makes you happy. And keep one of those and call it an editing doc. Make sure you update. I've started putting dates on when I've last updated it so I know how recent I've updated it was, but always keep a Word doc to edit. The last thing you want to do is make a resume, save it as a PDF, and then just delete that copy that you can work on, because now you have to start from scratch. So I always keep an editing document, and when I save the PDF, I will save it as @BrittKolick_resume, and I put it in a file that says ready to send. And ready to send has my most updated resume, CV, portfolio, and a stage manager manual that I made. And those are all at the drop of a hat. If someone says, I need this, can you send it to me? Absolutely, I'll have it to you whenever. But I don't have to search for it. I don't have to remake it. So I do have two folders. I have an editing folder and I have a ready to send folder. In the ready to send folder, I have a PDF. In the editing folder, I have an edible. I have a document that can be edited. And that is up to your preference. Some people love Google Docs, some people do Adobe. Whatever program you want to use. But make sure you always have a file that you can edit. What that does is, because it took me 3 hours to figure out how to format my resume correctly. And now that I've got the formatting the way I want to keep it. I don't want to spend another 3 hours of my life having to redo it. So I always make sure I have a document that can be edited, and then I have the PDF. I keep saying PDF because you should always, unless otherwise specified, which sometimes people do, send a PDF of your resume. I have gotten several people who send Word documents. And the thing about a Word document is, or a Google Doc, you can edit those. Because nobody's really putting in like safeguards or like you can't edit it. You can edit those. So make sure it's a PDF or whatever file they want you to have. Some companies specify specific files, but if they don't specify, always send a PDF. Because a PDF can't be messed with. When you open it, I don't have to worry, as a stage manager, I don't have to worry about if I've accidentally deleted something or if I clicked on something. A PDF.
This was my first professional resume that I made in fall of 2020, so just about 3 years ago now. I was a senior in college, and I made a lot of mistakes I think everybody makes the first time they make a resume. For one, it's 2 pages long, and I'm already cringing at that. I don't hate that it is just a very traditional top to bottom instead of like the columns that I have now. I think it's very clean and it's still a good look. The monochromatic I don't hate either, though looking at it now it is very boring and it's not very exciting to read, but I am glad I was able to differentiate with color. So, experimenting, trying it out. We'll start from top to bottom on this, have my name. I have a position, stage manager, solid. Phone number and an email because I didn't have a website at the time. I'd make a website actually the following semester. My education, I really gave them too much information. I put my high school diploma on there, both of the BAs that I was expected, and a summer abroad program that I actually never ended up attending due to the pandemic. So I've really simplified that as just a BA and the year in the university on my new resume. The stage management experience, I hate that I just put it at a university, not because I hate that I only had university experience, but I just think that they didn't need to know that, but I don't hate what I did. I think it's still pretty solid and it's very clean. It's the show experience and the employment and then the related skills that really get me, because I have basically said in 7 or 8 different ways that I can do carpentry and electrician. And oh my God, that's way too many ways to say that I've done that. So I've really simplified and put employment as well as show experience all into just my shop experience and seasons that I had shop experience, both at my university and at my internship, Shakespeare at the Castle. So I'm glad that I eventually simplified all of that. The internship as well, I love that I had that experience on there, but that eventually just became a stage manager and an ASM credit on my current resume. I did have those on my current resume for a hot second, so they just became regular SM credits. As I said, the scene shop employment of 3 years, that got just thrown in with the show experience and made to be just seasons, which I really like. I think it's a very good look and it's very clean, and it shows that you've done a lot of experience and a lot of work. My related skills I've definitely trimmed some of this stuff, mostly because I haven't worked Vectorworks or LX Light Lab for a long time. I could probably still use both of those, but at the time I was still pretty good at both of those. I hate that I have scene shop, build, install, and paint. I have those in like 4 different other places. Young Brit, it's fine. Music reading is no longer on there. I don't know if I could read music anymore, but I do still have a valid passport and a valid PA driver's license. And Overall, for a first attempt at a resume, I'm not mad at it because I think like a lot of young artists and young people in theater, they are so proud of what they've done. They've done so much of it. They want to throw everything on there. They want to prove to people that they can do this job. And what a resume is not trying to prove anything. A resume is just a little slice of yourself that you give to an employer who then gets to see you act or gets to see you in an interview and gets to learn more about you. So you're just giving them a taste and then making them want to meet you so that you can give them the full story. The resume is never the full story. I've hoped you found this video to be helpful, and go out there and keep learning, keep asking questions, keep redesigning those resumes. And yeah, I don't know how to sign off still, so drink some water. I hope you found this video helpful, and happy resume building, everyone.